Hey, and a good evening to you. That's right, I said good evening, didn't I? Hey, welcome from Roo's Art Bar right here. Well, actually, I'm not at the art bar. I'm upstairs back at my art desk, but I'm glad to have you aboard this evening. Let me let a couple folks pile on. I have an old violin here, and it really is an old violin. I'll tell you a story about it in just a second. It's for real. It's mine. It is now. I stole it. I'll tell you about that story. This has been, but thanks for joining me tonight. And there's a reason for that. We made it about the schedule. I have to go. It's important that we do go. We want to go to a granddaughter's basketball game tomorrow. It's the last one of the season, and she's anxious, and so we're there just to cheer her on. We have to all kind of stand outside this door and then move in a little bit at a time and get all spaced, but a few of us get to go watch this game, and so it's very important that we go do that. So thank you for jumping on the show this evening. Thank you for being here. Got a couple things I want to paint, and so let me just say good evening here to some of you folks. This camera's going to go in and out. It's having a hard time focusing tonight, but so am I. So there, we're all in this together. Randall Taylor Craven, thank you for being on the show. Shanlon Martinez, thank you. Kim Sheets, good evening, everyone. Hello, Sheila Hunt. Karen Binder. Brenda Wilcox, Elsie McQuillan, thank you for being on the show. Hello from Kansas. From frigid Wisconsin, good grief, man. I know it's been cold in Charlotte. And from warm Florida. Yeah, I'm ready to get to warm Florida. I'm actually going to come down there for a couple of weeks. Carol and I have got to go do a little, not vacation. She's actually going to do some work, and I'm going to go and work from there and edit some and write some and do a couple shows from there, too, as a matter of fact. Sheila, good evening from you. Sandy Rowe, hello. Linda, thank you. Alice Durham, yay. Fern Skelly says, nice to see you. Denise Albright. Gemma Jensen, let me just go to this shot right here and see if it'll hold focus. There it is, just a little bit, maybe. There it is. Sandra DeLay, thank you for being on here. Bob from the celestial cornfields of Iowa. Celestial it is. This violin, I'm going to show you a different picture of it in a minute. Hey, John Robert Small, howdy from Coffee Country. Stacy Christine from Ontario, thank you for being on the show. June Jones, hello, everyone. Patricia, well, a lot of people have just piled on. There's a lot of folks watching already. Thank you for being here. Skeeter Powell from way down in, Dan is with you. He won the David's Table Roo this month. Okay, so there's still a Roo that's going around. Some of you may remember many months ago, I painted for David's Table. A good friend of mine, Skeeter Powell, they paint weekly with these folks. And so I painted them a Roo. He had it framed and it gets moved around. And so their artwork, and they sort of get to be the winner of that for a month. And they sign it and move it on. Kind of an awesome deal. Thank you for doing that for me. It reminds me to think of you folks, talk about you folks, and even pray for you folks. So thank you. That's fantastic. Michael Ashburn. I'm a little embarrassed to say it, but I'm the expert on the Roodoodles, which is a little sketch I'll say. By the way, you're a nutcase is all I got to say about you. Go back to watching some detective show on TV, man. Just kidding you. Dorothy Beasley, Lori Stanley, Handelmeyer Henderson, thank you for being on the show. Virginia Mann, Barbara Mayer, good grief, you guys are piling on the show. Thank you for being here. All right, so let me get started here a little bit. Trina, I see you, and I recognize the town. Fruscia, Colorado. Joy, thank you for being back on the show. Sharon Caldwell, Sandra Pierce from Aiken, South Carolina. That's just a little ways down the road. Jamie Rice, thank you for being here. Okay, and Denise Boyd, thank you for being on the show. All right, so here we go. Let me tell you about this violin just real quickly here. Let me just clip to the desk shot so you can see it. It's got some age on it. Can you see that? It's got some few scratches, and it literally is a copy. Of course, it's made in the style of of the Stradivarius, and it certainly isn't one. It's not worth a whole lot, but it is kind of a funny story. And I might as well tell it to you here as I get into painting this week or tonight or today, whatever it is. But here's the violin. Take a look. It's a full size. So here it is. I have a bow down there. My wife was with me. I think, were we married then? I don't know if we were married or not. Maybe not. Maybe we never really dated. We just were friends and kind of hung out together. And then when I moved away from Knoxville, I realized, oh my gosh, I'm in love. I've got to figure this out. And so we never really had a date. But when my dad and my uncles were small, they all got instruments one year for Christmas. And this was way back in the, goodness gracious, I guess 30s, 40s. I should do a little research on this, but my dad got a guitar. My Uncle Mel out of Ohio got a banjo, and my Uncle Edgar, who left this planet quite a few years ago, got this fiddle. And so it was in an old vinyl case. I'm sorry, I lost it here. It was in an old vinyl case, and it hung in a chicken house or a smokehouse out by the chicken house. It hung in a smokehouse just on the wall. And I heard it was out there one day, and I went out there and I said, I found it, and it had plastic all stuck down to the side, or the old vinyl had gotten hot in there under the tin roof. And I said, Uncle Edgar, what are you doing with this? Called him Uncle Edgar. And he go, I don't know what I'm doing with it. I said, I'm going to take it. He said, well, you can't take it. I'm not giving it to you. I said, well, if you don't give it to me, Uncle Edgar, I'm going to steal it. And he said, well, you can't steal my violin. And I said, well, you're right. I guess I can't, because you're watching me put it in my car and drive off with it. But I'm taking it, and I'm going to work on it, and I'm going to get it back together. Strings were all dangling, and the bridge was gone, and keys were still in it. These are original keys. There were no fine tuners on it, but I wanted this violin, or fiddle as I called it. You know the difference, right? Nothing. It's just how you play it. And so I got it. And I drove off, and he goes, hey, you can't take it. You're stealing it. And I said, no, you just said I couldn't steal it. If you see me taking it, look, I'm taking it. He said, well, get it fixed and bring it back to me. And I said, that's not going to happen, okay? I'm taking this, and I'm going to learn to play it. He goes, right. Well, I wrote a story about it. In fact, I recorded the story called About Uncle Hank. I changed the name because I didn't want it to be Uncle Edgar. It just didn't work in the story. But I wrote a story about this, about a man who learned to play it so well. And someday maybe I'll put it out there. It's actually recorded. I did it on an album years ago. And it was about a man who played it so pretty. And so I took it to a man in the mountains of western North Carolina, way up in the mountains of western North Carolina, named Byard Ray. He was an old-time fiddle player. And I'd put some strings on it, and I'd bought the bridge. And he looked at it like this, and he held it up, and he said, I believe their sound post is not set in there correctly, but it's still in there. As a matter of fact, it's not even a sound post at all. That's the post that goes between the back and the bridge to hold this pressure up. He says, it's a pencil. And I said, really? He said, yeah, someone's just cut a pencil and put it in there, but I'll reset that for you. And so he said, you want to sell it? And I said, no, I don't want to sell it. And he said, I'll buy it from you. Well, that made me think it might be worth something. And so I said, no. And so he worked with it for about 30 minutes, pulled it up, rosined up a bow, and he played a little tune. And he said, yep, I'll give you $500 right now for that. And I said, no, you can't, because I stole it. Well, I didn't really steal it, but I told the man I was stealing it. So I told him the story I just told you. And he said, shook it like this. He said, you don't have a rattlesnake in there. You don't have a rattlesnake rattle in there. And I said, I didn't know I was supposed to. He goes, son, don't you know anything about mountain instruments? You're supposed to have a rattlesnake rattle inside the fiddle. And I said, no, I didn't know that. And he said, you have to. You have to. You have to. And I go, okay, Byard, please, sir, tell me why. Because, when in mountain storytelling, people just waltz into the stories. And I said, why would one have to have a rattlesnake rattle in there? And he goes, to keep the black widow spiders from living in there, building their home in there. And I'm going like, oh my gosh, I never heard anything like that before in my life. And he said, yeah, you wouldn't want to be fiddling Billy in the low ground. And that spider run out, bite you in the neck, and kill you before you ended the song, would you? And I knew I'd been had. But I got to tell you what happened. I literally I literally had killed a big rattler where I was living over near Asheville, North Carolina. Big one. We bush hogged it up. We were up in the old dairy site on a tractor, and I found it had 13 rattles at a button. And I said, I got a big one. And for fixing my fiddle, I'm going to bring it back to you. And about a month later, I drove back over there. We went up, and I walked out, and he was sitting on the porch. And I said, I brought you something. And I held it up, and he said, that's a mighty fine one, son. Thanks for remembering. I said, oh, how could I forget you, sir? And it was later that I was doing a radio show out of Asheville, and I invited those guys down, and they all came and played on the radio show I was doing, and he remembered about that. So anyway, here's why I brought this out. So here's the whole long story about that. Sometimes when you have to sketch a fiddle, let me just go to this right here. Sometimes when you have to sketch a fiddle, you just have to look at one. So you can pull a picture up, I guess, or you could just go get one and hold it and take a look at it and lay it down and not trace it, because this is a tiny little picture, but you get all these little pieces correct, and you realize where the bridge is and where the tail piece comes in and where the chin rest is and how the little, this is called a land snail, this little piece up here. So anyway, that's the story, but I got it because if you're painting instruments, I've been listening to classical music this week, the last 2 days, because I have been writing a script. And the script had to do with something I really want to do. So I started painting some cello. So I did this one, and then I did a painting that I posted today somewhere here. Well, I had one. I don't know what happened to it. Oh, it's on the back of this. Look there. See, I just turned it over and painted another one. There it is. So I thought I wanted to do this painting again tonight for you. So here we go. So watch this. And then I need a little music to paint by. There it is right there. Don't you love that piece of music? Might as well hear it again, don't you think? See if it plays. Don't know if it will or not. This is the piece I thought of this morning when I was painting it the first time. Sometimes when I put classical music on, it just helps me lift my brush and get in the mood to paint a little quicker. Got to have some turquoise in there, don't you agree? I got a story about turquoise tonight. We're going to talk about that just a little bit tonight. It's weird to be painting in the evening, isn't it? Yeah, like, come on, I'm going like, what's going on with this picture? Been a strange thing, but glad you're here with me. So I'm going to do a little bit of turquoise. Got to get some yellow on the legs there a little bit, a little orange in there. Just mixing some of my leg color here. Got to paint the cello. So I think what I'm going to do for that is just get some of this this is a nice cello color right there. That actually was a cello and a piano with the Fly the Bumblebee. I don't know who played it. I just found it a while ago, and I thought that'd be a fun little song to play. So if you're painting an instrument with a roux, if you're painting an instrument with a cat, a dog, or anything else you're painting an instrument with, one of the things you're going to have to do is you're going to have to make sure you leave a place for the instrument, okay? So you have to sort of put the instrument in first. So you saw that. I just sketched it there. So strange. I never paint at night. Yeah. Flight of the Bumblebee. Terry Tardy Turquoise. Yeah, it had to go in there, right? Sketches to the music. Love it. Anytime's a good time to paint, you people are saying. Teru or not Teru? That's the question. Hey, Mike, I won the Roo this month. Fantastic. I just heard that, man. Dean, that's fantastic. John Robert Small, I looked at that painting. I love it very much. Nothing like a reference while you're sketching. It's nothing to be ashamed of. No. That's actually pretty good. So here's the thing. Sometimes I just can't remember which way things are turned. And so that's why I took the violin out in the first place. So if you have one, do. If not, use a photo and just look at it. And you go, oh, look at that. And if I'm tilting it this way, then I see this shadow mark right here. See that? That's dark. So this one, I didn't put too much shadow because he's almost coming straight on, but I'm going to add a little bit in just a second. I'm going to reach right in here and add a little piece just right there, and that'll be just a touch more dark right in there. See that little shadow? And maybe get some of this and do these F holes right here. That's what those are called. Even on the cello, there's a little touch of that. I want a little more of this red in there. There's a little shadow. The reason that's coming in is, watch this. I'm going to just let couple of the feathers come in around here, and I'm going to pick up some color in this Roo. I'm going to add a little purple in here just because I want some red in there. I want a little blue in here coming from this. Maybe a little red in this tail up here. When you're doing a light, whimsical painting like this, it reminds me of Charles Reed again. You just let the colors go. Don't worry about them too much. They're starting to come together there. So that's kind of what it is. All right. Who says he has to paint fast? I mean, it can be a slow paint. A little brown here on the bottom, just picking up some of this. And this is like my violin. It's a little scratched. It's been hanging out in the old chicken house for a long time. The irony of that just cracks me up, huh? That the one instrument that I have that's an oldest instrument literally was hanging in a smokehouse next to the chicken house. And my uncle kept it there for a long time. I've got a piece of tape hanging on my arm here. It's just a piece of artist tape. And I stuck it on my sweater before this started because I want to just stick it on the paper right here like this. And I want to stick the other part on here. The reason that I stuck it to my sweater first was to just take some of the sticky adhesive from it so it wouldn't rip my paper apart. You ever notice that sometimes when you put tape on your paper and you go to pull it up, it rips it off? If you put it on your clothes, it picks up lint and it's not as sticky, so it breaks the adhesive down. Crazy, isn't it? All the little things that you can do. Man, people are smart. They figure this stuff out. And, it gets passed on from people to people to people. And that's what I'm doing. My job on this show is to pass some of this on to you so that you'll go, you know what? I learned something listening to that crazy storyteller. I'm going to go in here and get a little more red, and I don't want as much water in this red. I want it to pick up just a little bit here. I'll probably come in with a little of here's my Lamy fountain pen right here. I'm just going to add a little bit right up in the top here. Maybe, if I get it to right in there. It's a little too wet for it to do that, but I'll pick up some of that black. If I can't get the black in there, I'll go touch this black and touch it right there. Just let it run in a little bit. There it is right there. That's what I was after. Maybe a little much. I can erase some of that. Come back in with a little more red. There we go. I like how that black comes in there to age a little bit. We'll probably grab a 7. By the way, when you're buying these pens, make sure that you get needle point, N-E-E-D-L-E, needle tip. You don't have to. You can sketch with a ball point, roller ball, metal ball. The metal ball takes off and runs a little more. These tend to write on the water really well without gumming up, or on the watercolor really well, and it's a finer line. So you may want to add that in your collection as you start adding things in. What I'm going to do here is take the bow, put it in right here. I might have to wait on this piece right there. There's a little opening right there that I'm going to go for in just a second. I'm going to tell you why. Go down here with this pen. Let me see. Let me find my marker here. I think you can still see the painting. I see my focus is on this camera. Sorry about that. Obviously, it's nighttime for me, and I don't have all my faculties together. All right, so what I'm going to do there is I'm just going to take my small brush and I'm just going to sweep across this, but I'm going to get some green on there too, a little sap green right there. And then I'm going to add just a touch of yellow to that. I don't want, and maybe just a touch of brown to that also. Just give me some dirt underneath here. There we go. That's kind of cool. I like that. I see a little place I should have erased right here. See if I can get to it right now. Where I pencil sketched. I did pencil sketch the cello on the page. I pencil sketched it there because I haven't done 50 of these. I've done probably 30, 35, maybe just trying and practicing, but I haven't done a lot of them. So I wanted to make sure that I sketched it so it looked like a cello. Now, that red was so bold that it started running up in the beak of the rooster, so I took my paper towel, blobbed it out. You know what it's like to paint live? When you make a mistake, it's like working without a net. That's exactly what it is. So you kind of go, what the heck? I paint more at night than any other time. It's funny how you guys do this, huh? Paint watercolors better at night when things are quiet. That does make a difference, by the way. I used to edit better at night, from about 10 until 2 in the morning. I could really edit because my phone wasn't going to buzz or ring, and I was less interrupted by any other thing. No phone calls, no nothing. So that's probably a good time to do that. Some people can't work that way. I can't anymore because my body just starts saying, now that I'm getting up early to paint for you guys. My night is caretaking mom, but I get up early. Yeah, wow. Or use a heat gun to take it off. Barbara Meyer, yeah, Barbara, you have ideas, but they're a little more, I could go get a heat gun. I could go get that, but I'll just put it on my shirt and it works great. You can take bumper sticker pieces off that way. All right, so I'm going to wait till this dries before I put the strings on here. I would like some maybe walnut keys on this thing. So I'm going to do some chocolate brown just right there for a little walnut and the pegs. I'll add some strings in that later. I'm going to darken up this tail piece just a little bit right there. Too much, so I'm just going to go in. All right, what I was going to say about painting live is, you paint differently when you're by yourself. You don't worry about it. You just kind of paint. When I'm doing this live, my brain is firing, saying, should I do this? Should I add that there? Should I go here? What if this messes up? And you can see how it really worries me, right? But I think it's made me a better painter. And so that's one reason that I wanted you to start showing your stuff on Roo's Crew and also on the painting page, is that you really start saying, I'm going to put this out there and I'm going to toughen up and see what people think and say and recommend. And I'm going to let my community give me their 2 cents. You have to have the hide of a rhino to be an artist. I mean, you do. And if you don't think you do, you're missing something, because people will eat your lunch and then hand you back a crumpled bag. And they don't mean to all the time. They'll just go, oh, I wasn't expecting that it was going to look like that. And you go, well, what were you expecting? A rooster playing a cello? All right, you get the idea. But doing it live like this puts the heat on a little bit. I always loved that when I was storytelling. And my friend Michael Ashford, who's on the show, he'll get an idea. He'll understand this when he and I do stories and we're traveling, or especially him. He travels more than I do in the last few years. Nobody's traveling right now, but you get the idea. When you're traveling to do any sort of performance, you get in the concept of, when I walk out on that stage, my adrenaline peaks out. And live in front of the audience, I have to be on my best. But if I'm not and I fall flat on my face, I've got to figure out how I'm going to get up and make it work. It's sort of like the day that you guys had great grace with me when technology was failing, when I had Aaron on the show, and y'all were saying, oh my gosh, you handled that so well. And I'm going like, we're both skilled in saying, hey, I'm doing this. And suddenly, I'm not now. Or I did this, or, we've had those situations. I'll never forget, I opened one night in Washington, D.C. for a Christmas party for Chuck Colson. And I was telling the story, I probably told you the story of the angel that says, fear not! And it scared him so much that this lady backs up and falls through these doors. And the place just sort of stopped for a second. and people parted like the Red Sea, and they pulled her up, and her ballroom gown was kind of all crinkled and going places it shouldn't have gone, and they pulled her back together. And she said, and I said, I'm thinking, what am I going to say to this lady? I'm not sorry you fell, ma'am. I said, and that's what I'm talking about. Don't be afraid. And people just laughed. They thought it was part of the show. Sometimes you just have to go on with it, okay? So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it tonight. All right, so what I'm doing here is just taking this pin. This is my number 7. This is pretty wet here, but I like going in when it's kind of wet. As soon as it's dry enough to pick up the ink, I like kind of going in there. But I'm not done with this. Nope. If it's Flight of the Bumblebee, then I have to have a bumblebee, and I think he's going to be right here. This is like the painting I did this morning. So there's his wings right there, and then here's his woolly body. He comes down. And what am I going to paint him with? Something small. What have I got here? Oh, look at this little brush right here. Dirty little brush. That sneaked back in there before I cleaned it pretty well. This is a number 2 American Journey brush. Hey, I'm going to finish this one, and then I'm going to show you a little video. I promised you this. Carol and I took off the other day for her birthday celebration. And I got to show you where we went and what she wound up with while this one dries. I'm going to do another painting for you in just a minute. Let me grab a little bit of this orange brown right here. It's orange brown because I made it orange brown. And I got to go with a little more black on the tail of this bumblebee right there. And so what I did was I sketched the cello first, and then I just built a rooster around it. Instead of trying to figure out how I'm going to do this and do all that at one time, just draw it. Just put it in there. Put it in a pen if you want to. And then I promise you will say, I can't cross there. I got to go here. I left a little spot in there. You see it right there? Can you see that little spot I left right there? Little bitty spot right there at the end of my brush tip. I left that in there. Watch this. I'm going to go get some Terry Tardy turquoise, and I'm going to put it right there. Why? Because I like it when the bow, on the frog of the bow, and that's what that's called. The frog is what you tighten up to pull the bowstrings tight. That's sometimes that's mother of pearl inlay, and sometimes it can be wonderful stones, and it can be turquoise, and it can be all sorts of stones that I don't even know. I'm going to let this dry for a minute. And speaking of stones, I want to show you something. Okay. She's drawn from her. Oh my gosh! Really? Fantastic. Shay says her daughter's drawing bees in my daughter's planter. How fun is that? You probably got the last ones. They're all gone. So we live on a farm, and Rooster, my son, plays the cello. How about that? I actually have been asked for a couple of these, and this one, of course, is going to have a comment that's about the flight of the bumblebee. Why wouldn't it, right? All right, so I'm going to just put a little bit of blue here like this. Listen to the cello this evening. I have no idea who it's by. This is production cello that I just get. Okay, so I'm going to yank this tape off. Look at that, and look at this. Zip! What a finish to that rascal. So you're saying, well, it doesn't have strings on it. Well, I'm going to let it dry a little bit, and I'm going to come in and put some strings on there, and then I'm going to come back and put the little nose piece on the roo, double this up a little bit, put some more black marks in there. I just like having this pen to kind of come in and give myself a little more mess. I'm ready to put the strings on this there. I'll just darken that with the pen. That's the leg on the cello. I love the little detail. There's a little wheel that locks that little thing so you can adjust it accordingly. That's not a bad little bumblebee, even if I did draw it myself. Yeah, he's kind of roasting right in there, okay? All right, so here we go. Let me tell you about this trip I took. So about last week, early on, along about Tuesday, I left the show. Carol had a lunch out. Crayola the bon vivant celebrates a birthday for a month. So it comes, she says it's a trip around the sun. She said another trip around the sun, but then once a year. But when birthdays comes on, she has so many dear connections and friends, and their community is so strong. Friends just say, okay, get your mask on. We're going out to brunch. We're going out to dinner. Last night she was at one of my favorite restaurants in town called Roosters. Yes, and it's phenomenal. Speaking of which, by the way, I still have, I think, 9, maybe 8 or 9 mugs. So it's Roodoodles.com if you're still looking for a good diner mug. Weighs 1.5 pounds, by the way. When you get them in the mail, you'll recognize. Keeps the tea warm. I'm having good old black tea, strong tea, a little caffeine. Good for milking a goat. Good for putting bacon grease in, sticking it right in the fridge. Not as if you make bacon or gravy. And also, if someone takes your purse, you can take them out with that right there. Okay, so that's it's a self-defense mug. So Carol and I took off, and we went to a place called Garrett's Antiques and Indian Shop. No kidding, that's what it's called. It's fabulous. Mr. Garrett was there. I didn't get to talk to him this time. Carol loves talking to him because he's so knowledgeable. His father and he, and even his daughter, they've traveled into Navajo land, and they're helping these folks sell their turquoise. And it's really fun. And it's, in fact, she says, I traveled all the way to Santa Fe to buy some turquoise, and I came back and I bought it cheaper here than I could there. In the art stores and galleries in Santa Fe, because they have big overhead. This place is 13 minutes from my house. And Elizabeth is knowledgeable. She's a sharp young lady. And so it's fun to talk. I went in and looked at they've got some cast iron hanging in the ceiling. I always see if somebody's been in trading a little cast iron around. But I want to show you a quick little video and show you Carol's birthday present, because I told her I would. So this is for Elizabeth at Garrett's, but it's for you to see where it was. Here it is right here. Take a look at this little video that I just shot on my phone, put together so you can see where we were. Take a look. All right, here it is. Maybe, if it runs. For some reason, it's not. So here, I'm just going to pull it up and run it right here. Boom. See if it'll run now.
Oh yeah, baby. All day long. Good stuff. Hanging out with Yaya. You want to be me.
Hey, oh yeah, baby. You want to be me. All right. So that ring was, she laid several out there, and I got to even help choose one. I said, no, not that piece and this piece. But then again, I'm not wearing it, so you choose what you want. And so it is your kind of place. It's called Garrett's. I follow them on Instagram. You can find it Garrett's Antiques, and Elizabeth is great at posting sometimes their jewelry just at a great rate and say, hey, I've got this. I'll put it in a box and ship it to you. So it's kind of a fun thing to do. All right. So I want to keep you up to our excursions, because here's why. Man, it makes us feel like real people. You know, we had the mask on and we went out, and at that moment, we were the only 2 people in there except Elizabeth. And her father was out splitting firewood because he has this awesome firewood business. And I got to go back and buy some hickory because I cooked from hickory. So there you go. What a great place, huh? Elizabeth, she's on the show. Fantastic, my friend. Love the place. So we're talking it up big time. You saw my pen laying there and my little box of watercolors. So Elizabeth, I was going to give her a card, and I went, oh, I got one of my little cards. So I just painted it right there. Did you notice the Roo had on a turquoise ring? So Elizabeth, I'm talking about you because you guys are so knowledgeable in what you do and what you know. And so it's called Garrett's Antique and Indian Shop. And I'm telling you, some fantastic tooled silver, some beautiful stones. And they started talking about stones, and I'm going like, I don't even know what y'all are talking about. Buffalo this and Kings this. And she and Carol are rattling back and forth, and she knows her stuff. So anyway, what a blessed place to see. It was kind of fun. So, hey, let me get back to painting something here. And let's do it with this shot right here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to put some strings on this. It's about dry enough to do that. But I thought while I'm painting musical instruments today, because I've been writing this piece that has to do with classical music, I'll just paint another one here. So this one, take a look at it. See, so that was a cello. There it is. And I painted a cello first, then I just painted the real body. So this, this has to do with Flight of the Bumblebee, right? So can we play that one again? It's my favorite. Maybe that's the caption. The one today was, let's do my flight in B minor. That was the one that I sold today. It figures, he says. Hey, let's do my flight in B minor. And notice here the B has a little baton to direct with, all right? So that's kind of what I do. It's art on the fly. No pun intended. Excuse me. So here's where I've used a little bit of a pencil, and I've just sketched this in. So I'm going to take some of that out. I don't sketch with pencil much, but once again, if I'm doing an instrument, if I'm doing something, and look, I left the bottom out right here. See that? Because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some feathers over that. So as I was doing it, I think, ooh, I want to leave that open. I can always go back and fill it in. In this case, I'm just going to take my pen here, and I'm going to see, where's this rooster? You would think this is going to be under his chin. No. He's not playing like that. He's playing like this. He is pretty raucous, if you ask me. This dude here is... He's holding his fiddle down here, and this is how I've seen a lot of guys. Sometimes they'll get playing and they'll drop it way down underneath their chin, and they'll be looking back the other way, and they'll be playing down here. John Hartford, sometimes when I got to see him play live in concert, sometimes he would drop that thing way down. And I think, what good is a fiddle player if he's not playing on a wash tub? So there it is. He's got his beak's been bent in. He's had the barn door slammed on him a couple times. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this one a little different. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this Lamy fountain pen, kind of some of the same approach here, but I'm going to drop in a little more black than you think I was going to. So take a look here. Let's say that he's all dressed up, ready to go out a night on the symphony. So watch this. Here we go. Just thought of that right there. Let's go for a little, what is this? Black watercolor. There it is right there. Here we go. All right. Stay close. Watch. I'm just painting with water. You're just seeing the actual ink run a little bit as I swipe it in here. I haven't put any pigment from paint or watercolor on this at all. Just a little bit of ink. I'll come in right here. He's got on a tux. I should have left a room for a bow tie, but hey, life is short. We can go without the bow tie. Then we'll take a little bit of this liquid watercolor. Watch close. I'm just going to drop it right in here like this. Maybe. There it is right there. Just let it follow the water. It's going to chase the water around. Look, where the water stops, it stops. And I'm just going to have to take my brush and sort of just pile it in here a little bit like this. So I'm painting him in the black tux that he's out for the night on the town. Look, I'm not worried if I make mistakes. I'm not worried if it doesn't look perfectly. I'm just having fun with art. Do you see the difference? I paint because I love it. You know why Carol likes to travel? Because she brings something home that we have bowls that have the places she bought them. She will photograph and remember exactly the ring she bought this week. And she'll remember what Elizabeth told her about the ring. And she'll remember all those things because she runs a museum here. Okay? All right, so I've just painted a rooster in, I think I'm going to go on with a different brush here. I just painted a rooster in a black suit ready for the symphony. He's waiting on his time to play. Maybe he's not first chair. Maybe he's third chair. Maybe he doesn't even have a chair. And maybe he's playing for the barn dance and he just wanted to get dressed up. You know, it's hard to tell. Put some age on him by drawing a beak like that. Look at that, you know. His nose might have seen better days. I like pulling some of this right in here, just down just a little bit lower right there. And here too. We'll go right in there. I see a little drop of water that I'm going to try to remove. So watch, I'm taking this paper towel and I'm going to make an eraser out of it. I'm just going to go in and I'm going to pull right there and push it down and just sort of dry that spot out a little bit. Here's where if I had my little works heat gun, I drew a little bit of that. I'm going to mix up a little bit of lead color by just dipping in this yellow here. This is gamboge. Put it in here in this bay. I don't do too many pre-mix. I mix most everything from on the painting itself, but I'm going to go in here and just grab some of that. And I'm going to let this be the legs. I like this color. Sometimes I'll put a little bit of French gray in there. Used to be Sag Harbor gray. I guess that's where Joe loved to go visit when he was sketching. The paint I'm using is American Journey paint. It's from Cheap Joe's art store. Hey, if you haven't gotten your new catalog, I'll tell you, what a flattering thing. It was fun to see. On page 52, there was Roodoodles with a painting and me in my hard hat. My hat sits over there with the goggles. And when Brian said, send me a photo, I went, you want a photo of me? He goes, yeah, a photo of you. So I just clipped that one off and sent it. The Raging Cajun Kershaw Roo. Oh my gosh, I remember him. Doug Kershaw. Wow. It'd be worth looking up Doug. Just give me a second here. Let's see if I can find Doug Kershaw. We'll just go against all copyright here for a minute. Hold on one second. Doug, hang on. Doug Kershaw. Good suggestion. Doug, this is Doug Kershaw. Are you kidding me? I know what this song is. This is Callin' Baton Rouge.
I spent last night in the arms of a girl in Louisiana. Though I'm out on the highway, my thoughts are still with her.
I wasn't thinking he was going to sing. I was hoping he was just going to rip that fiddle.
A strange situation, stopping every 20 miles, calling Baton Rouge. A replay of events last night rode through my mind.
All right, Doug. Got to go for something else. I can only play a little bit of him here because of, I'll get a note from Facebook. What a hoot. Thank you for reminding me of Doug Kershaw. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, Doug, got to give me a break. Yeah, I went back to the slow stuff. Got to honor the copyright, guys. All right, so anyway, so you see what I just did? So I just painted this, and just because I painted the instruments first. Now I'm going to go back in and just put some strings in this. Great way to do that is just with a piece of paper, a business card, a little piece of paper like this will work, and just a pen. So come in right here and just drop a string down. If you want them to be straight, you just kind of tool it down like that. Look what I did. Just move it over a little bit. Come down again right here, and come down one more time right there. And I just have my strings on there. And then maybe put some out here like this. And then let's put some, had to go back to the cello. Fly to the what? I think it needs a little bit of splatter. Let's just go dirty up the ground here just a little bit, right down here. Just like that. Just let that break outside of that plane. Even though I did that beautiful tape line, you know I'm not going to leave it taped like that. I'm going to go and just grab a little blue. All right, there's that one done. I like it, I like it, I like it. All right, here it is, finished. So, what's whimsical? That is, you see, that has a point, a place somewhere. Now I could come back in and do a little cleanup on it if I wanted to clean this up and add a little more blue right here. Maybe just a touch more yellow or red right here. Just a touch down, and maybe let some of these feathers come over right here. So now I've tied that thing in. Now I'm going to go in right here, and I'm going to get a little bit of an orange feather, and I'm going to come in right here, and I'm just going to let this, I think I had it out so you couldn't see it. I'm just going to let this come over and let that catch the bow on this side, and then I'm going to let this hand come up in blue right here, and I'm going to let it just sort of catch the fingerboard. See there? There's a fret. He's fretting it right there. He's playing this, of course, in the Flight of the Bumblebee in D. But maybe they're not playing the flight because I just said, what is the flight of the bumblebee? All right, so there's the painting. All right, it's 6x8. It's painted on, by the way, I painted this on fluid watercolor paper, 140 pound. It's not 100% cotton, but it's great, great, great paper. I love that paper. Some of you know I do. Now on this one, I'm just going to draw the strings in with a 505 Pentel. There it is, inner gel pen. Remember, these are needle point. Just going to draw it in right here, draw a string down, come across like this, come across like this, come across like this. And then, of course, here, I'm going to come in right here and draw the bow out like this that comes back. Now, I want the end of that bow to show up. So how am I going to do that? Because I didn't leave it in there before. So I could go in and I could put a little brown streak in there, or I could fool you by doing this. I could go get an X-Acto knife, or I could just reach in my pocket and get my pocket knife. Maybe. I used to have one I carried in my pocket. There it is right there. Okay. Here it is. Boom. There's my pocket knife. And I'm just going to go in here and I'm just going to scrape a little bit of this frog in right here. Look. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to draw the little frog piece on the bottom right there. And I'm going to do the same thing I did in the other one. I'm just going to take a little bit of that Terry Tardy turquoise, which is really Andrew's turquoise from Joe's. And I'm going to put a little piece out here on the end. And I've just succeeded in making the bow being held by the frog right there, like so. Now, all right. Painting without a net. That's what it ought to be called. That's what I should call my show. Painting without a net. It's like being in the circus. I just want you to be freed up to feel like it's okay to make some mistakes. Nobody really cares. People love you to be real and authentic and creative. So do that with your art, okay? Do that with your art. You know, if you went into Garrett's and you went in there to buy a stone, you would not say, oh, this stone has a little bit of, crack here or a little bit of discolor here. And you go, no. That's what makes the stone the stone. That's what makes the stone special, is that it has a personality. So sometimes I feel that way about art that I look at, and I hope I feel that way about my art. In fact, that I do. Now, here's a little piece of detail you might forget. I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to write the number 3 right here. But I didn't write it that way, did I? It's 3's this way, and I still wrote it upside down. I'm so used to writing it the other way. So I'm going to put it right there with a circle. That's hilarious. I wrote it upside down after I turned it. And I want this a little bit of rust on this can. So let me just go in here and get some of this earth and brown and drop a little rust down here and put a little bit of shadow underneath here. I'm going to come in here and a little bit of earth, a little bit of brown. I don't just do grass green because the grass just didn't green. It certainly is green in my yard, I'll tell you that. I don't know what color it is, but Carol would wish it were green even in the summer. But, all right. So let's give this guy a little bit of a spot of blue up here, just some French blue to drop this in. I like some of this purple up there. Might do a little bit of yellow. Might touch that just off and just let all that kind of come together and just make a sky. Maybe that's the Louisiana sky where Rooster Kershaw here is playing. Rooster Kershaw. I can't believe somebody said Duck Kershaw. Sorry I didn't pick up your name as that comment went by. I was just reading quickly and it went by. So forgive me for that. All right. So a little bit of a touch of blue. And you get to sleep in the morning. Those of you on the West Coast, you don't have to get up early and see Roo. I have painted tonight. I'm going to do one more quick piece and then I'm out of here. So this one, who knows what the caption will be, but I'm going to post them both, and I'll post them very reasonably because I painted them as part of the show, so they're going to roll out of here at, $35, $40 a piece if you're interested. All right. Rooster looks like he might be out of the Wizard of Oz. Here's peeping up your guilt. You know what about you, John Robert Small? You ain't wired right. That's what I know about you, man. You are wired funny. All right. I think we could come in with some titanium white if I had some, but I don't. And maybe put a little bow tie on this Roo. That would look pretty cool, actually. So I'll concentrate to see whether I'm going to do that or not. If maybe I'll come in with maybe a turquoise tie. What would that look like? Ooh, man, that might look pretty cool right here. Too late now, I've done it. So there it goes. I'm going to just paint a little turquoise tie right there. That's good. Oh, that's really good. All right. So there we go. Matches his bow. Let's put a little bit of just some, a little ruffian stuff on here. Just some. Where's my blue pen that I threw across the desk a minute ago? I definitely paint different at night. I think I might be more fast brain. I don't know. Running out of daylight here though, aren't I? Let's put some toenails here. Let's put some a little spur too. I mean, these are roosters, people. These are serious chickens here. Let's put some scratches on the violin. If it is Doug Kershaw, let's put the F holes on the violin. There they are right there. All right. I'm loving that guy, actually. I really like him. I think he needs a couple beauty spots. Let's see. What could that be on the tux? Maybe a little purple? Let's see if it'll pop right in there. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe something a little lighter. Let's see if we can go with some of this gray just to give him a little bit of a pinstripe spot. All right, that's good. I'm going to brighten up this bow tie just one more time there. Once you paint over a color, sometimes you let it dry and go back. I'll clean that corner up right there. Perfect. All right, there it is. 2 paintings down. And 5 minutes to go. So let's do it. There they are right there. They're both on the same. Oh, this is just a new pad. Look at this. That's fluid watercolor paper. It's made, yes, fluid 6x8. I love this size. It's a great size. And here's the thing, people. We've been talking about this in the classes. Paint small. Everybody has place for a small painting. Come on. Some of you want to, if you do a 12x12 of, boom, they're gone. If you do a 6x9, they're gone. If you do 9x12, that's getting big. Now I've got to frame it and mat it. Then I've got something like this, and I go, wow, where am I going to put this? I do whimsical art. It's this big. It shows up in places. Okay, some of mine are this big. Look, coffee. Oh yeah, it's right down there. That's where the coffee is. Okay, so this one, of course, flew out this morning. He's gone. So he goes off to the floor. These 2 are going to go to the floor. Boom, boom. I think I'm going to have to get a big old pad down there on the floor. All right, let's pull in the tray. Where's the tray? The tray is the tray just has some random paint on it. This hasn't been livened up in 2 weeks, probably, or maybe 3 weeks, since I started doing some Charles Reed stuff. And some of you love that. You've got your books in, so I thought I'd just do a piece on Kilimanjaro paper in the last 5 minutes here. So I got 5 minutes to do something creative. This is Kilimanjaro, 100%. This is rag cotton. It responds quite well to watercolors. What was I going to say? Watercolors. That's what I was going to say. Last sip of tea, and I'm going to finish in 5. All right. See there? Sometimes when you sketch with a pen, you just flat out mess up. Sometimes, some of you, I can tell by looking at your paintings that you paint way too carefully. So every now and then, just grab some paint, some paper, and decide if you waste a piece, it's okay. All right? Oh, dropped my brush. That won't do, will it? Okay, so how fast was that? And will I do anything with this painting? Probably not, but the point is that I learned a lot about how these colors come together, and I love the fact in there. I might come back with a flare pen or a felt tip pen, and I might do some highlights in this. That's not a bad painting, actually. And that's what the funny part of that, even when you're not trying sometimes, you're going to get better at this as you go. Trust me, you are. So enjoy it. Feel free to make mistakes. Maybe some of you should start painting late at night. Who knows what could happen. I'm going to clean that beak up just a little bit. Watch this. I'm going to go right in here with 3 minutes to go. I'm going to grab some of this pristine gamboge and just pop it in right there. And then I'm going to go and pick up that eye just a little bit right there and see if I can just get a little bit of, watch this, I'm going to pull back in the pocket knife and I'm just going to scrape a little white spot right there. There it is. I did it. Paper was wet. Just scraped a little white in there. A little yellow behind the eye. I'm going to come back in with my pen. And I just created a little life in the eye. The eye is to have a white spot in it to make it look alive, okay? It's got to reflect light. Catch fish, you can tell if their eyes are still reflecting light that they are fresh fish. If their eyes are all gray and look cataract over or just gray and cloudy and no light reflecting, they've been dead for too long and they smell like fish. When you go in to buy fish, have them always hold it up on the counter and say, "Let me smell that fish." And they'll look at you like, "Sir, I can't do that." And I go, "Hey, then I can't buy it." Okay? And so, hey, I'm not that hard to get along with, but I don't like fish that smells like fish when I buy it at the grocery store. Because when I come home and cook it, then it really smells like fish. All right. Hey, I'll go back through some of this. Have a creative weekend, everyone, and good night. Let me just hit this and see if there's any more or less to do. Fill us in if you can. Make mistakes in your art. Love it. Karen, thank you for being on the show. Yeah, maybe he is doing a dust bath. He's low to the ground. Hey, thanks for the late night show, John Robert. You are very welcome. And glad you guys could be a part. Thanks for loving this show. Thanks for hitting the heart. Thanks for sharing it with your friends. It really helps me on Facebook to do that. Hey, listen, I am figuring out what I'm going to do about March and what kind of class I'm going to teach in March. If some of you would like to give me some feedback on that, I'll be happy to take it. I've got a lot of people who've signed on who want me to go back and do some serious intro stuff for brushes and colors, and some of you are way ahead of that, but some of you are not. And so I want to make sure that we don't outrun anybody who needs to come along and get what some of you have gotten in the art world. And then I want to move forward with some of you too. But I'm going to do a March class. Still got a February class to go. I'm looking forward to that. Hope you're still working on some of those Valentines. I saw some of your work. Those of you who are in the class, 50 of these and 50 of those, you're getting better and better and better. And some of you's art is fantastic. Okay? All right. Hey, so this is just a pan of my American Journey paint. I just put it in here sometimes when I just want to pick it up and sort of get messy. And so that's what I use that for. All right. So that's how that works. All right. Blessings to you. I'm out of here. And it's time to go finish my cup of tea. And I'm off and running. Blessings to you all. Thanks much. And I'll see you Monday at 8:57, Lord willing. So some of you can send me notes on here, or you can email me at roodoodles@gmail.com and say, "Hey, have you thought about a class for this? I'm interested." The classes are going to be the same price, $857 per class. So it's $34.28 for the month of March. Love to have you on board. It's a great community. We'll go deep. We won't go as fast as I paint tonight, and we'll break some things apart if you want to do that. Blessings to you all. I'm out of here like a herd of turtles.